continues right now.
Our Leggett Started 32 investigation finds more bad news when it comes to a problem that's only getting worse around Louisville.
We're talking about bike versus car accidents and the escalating road rage between drivers and cyclists. Last summer, our reports on the subject stirred a lot of talk. 1 year later, we decided to see if anything has changed, because the price of gas has certainly changed and many more people are using pedals instead of petrol.
As soon as they went out in the road, she hit them. And one of the kids went up into the windshield.
2 kids on one bike that's dragged 120 feet after being hit by a car going 45 miles an hour. 2 mothers in one hospital dragged into a life and death struggle.
That our sons are in very, very critical condition. Both of them are on life support, but he don't have any bottom. He don't have any bottom movement at all.
While the boys are getting better, the problem is getting worse. Our investigation finds this accident 6 weeks ago is one of 155 crashes involving cars and bikes in Louisville over the past 12 months. That's an average of almost 1 every 2 days, higher than anything on record so far. We obtained and studied every one of the accident reports and found 102 of the 155 accidents, 2/3, were the bicyclists' fault, doing things like not obeying traffic laws, especially disregarding stop signs, and running red lights. Also, riding on the wrong side of the street, darting out in traffic. And the most common error we find in these reports that leads to the most number of crashes is illegally riding on the sidewalk. The very place where many drivers believe bikers should be is where they shouldn't be because they're hard to see. But it isn't hard to see why this is such a big problem. The law says cyclists are granted all the rights applicable to drivers of any vehicle. Motorists should pass a cyclist only when it can be done safely and give ample room, at least 3 feet. When I went out on my bike last summer for a report on this, I found drivers often pass less than 3 feet away, cutting me off before they're clear and pulling out in front of me like I don't exist. When I went out last week, I found the same kinds of close shaves and the same kind of disdain for cyclists. This car almost rear-ends me before it changes lanes. The trailing car doesn't slow down, and even though I'm as far over to the right as I can be, doing nothing wrong on a green light at the intersection, the woman driving this black car slows up alongside me to cuss me out. Many accidents are caused by impatient drivers, like this one, who can't wait to get by 3 cyclists in single file. He tries to pass on a blind curve, double yellow line. A car coming the other way slams on the brakes to avoid a head-on crash, and the SUV we're following has no choice but to swerve back in, nearly clipping one of the cyclists.
If the bicyclist wants to get the public on their side as far as making the roads more bicycle-friendly, then they're going to have to start obeying the rules of the road on a more regular basis, and then the accident reports and observations seem to indicate.
Traffic Lieutenant Doug Sweeney is talking about this, rampant disregard of the laws governing bicycling. They have to use hand signals, stop at stop signs and stoplights, just like motor vehicles, ride as close to the right as possible, and never ride more than 2 abreast. But we see violations of this all over Louisville. Cyclists riding 5 wide, out into the oncoming lanes. Cars have no chance to go around these packs, and it's even difficult for cars coming the other way. They take over even busy roads, like Highway 42, at busy times. They take over rural roads, even if there's only 3 of them, and make it impossible for this SUV to get by, even going off the road. And they blow off stop signs and seldom use hand signals. But the biggest shame may be this. This is the bike handling class going on right now on Monday nights to educate people how to become better cyclists. As you can see, huge packs of cyclists are fanned out 10 wide at times, covering 2 lanes. And we seldom see anyone use hand signals. A city planning official tells us taxpayers paid the Louisville Bicycling Club $10,000 to teach these people bike handling and the rules of the road. Our finding of cyclists being at fault in 66% of these accidents is an increase of 6% over last year when we did a similar study. It's not surprising to the city traffic lieutenant who reads these reports all the time. We get reaction from him and others with a unique perspective on the problem, as well as what the city's doing about all this when we continue our special report tonight at 11 o'clock.
I always find this very interesting, the video of how those bicyclists are riding spread out all across the street. Thanks, John.
Now, your advanced